How's it going? Hey guys, how you guys doing? Can anyone hear me? How this goes.
Hello.
So what would you guys like to talk about? I'm not seeing my stuff up here. There we go. Hey Jeff. Awesome. Thank you. So what would you guys like to discuss tonight? Talk about ignitions. I noticed a lot of people have been commenting about changing their ignition coils, and that's not going to be the problem with these bikes. We have all kinds of questions people have been asking, so I figured I'd do this live chat and try it out. First time ever doing this, I'll tell you that. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of the books that I use. You guys have seen them in my videos. The Climber Manual. This thing is awesome because it does everything, all the rotary valves from 80 cc's up to 350. So this is a great manual. This thing has all your specifications in it. Honestly, I use this right here more than I use the Haynes manual. But I do use this as well. This covers a lot of stuff too. This right here has some nice, what I like about this is in the back of the book, it has the wiring diagrams. And they're obviously bigger. So this comes in handy for that. Got a lot of builds. You guys seen Robert's bike? He's got the DT 400. Really super cool bike. Can't wait to get working on that. We got Alvin's bike, and we're going to be working on the what do you call it there? Dave's bike is next. His bike is next on the chopping block. We're going to be doing the what do you call rebuild of the top end and the whole motor, the crank bearings, all that type of stuff. So should be pretty cool. Can't wait to get involved in doing that build. Alvin's bike is ignition. Once again, another ignition problem. What do you call it there? Aaron's bike came out great. He likes it. That bike, that was quite a lot of work on that. We did the whole top end. We did the carburetor, cleaned out everything. I felt bad because at the end of it, just before he picked it up, we had a what do you call it there? Yeah, Jeff, it is a good looking Yamaha. That thing is pretty. It's supposed to be yellow. That thing is a 1976. So same year as me. That's going to be a cool bike when he's all done with that bike. When I'm all done with that bike and getting that thing built up, he's been sending parts up to me. I got a big box of parts again today. Nice Canon air filter. He's got some stuff coming for that bike, so it's going to be a great build. Great build. I can't wait to get cracking on that. And same thing with Alvin's bike. In fact, I'm going to be doing a comparison video on the KE100 to the KE125, showing you guys what's different, what's up, and the major differences. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we got, let's see, Harvey Spooner's bike is coming up. We'll be doing that bike too, finishing off that one, doing a first start on that. That bike right there is a nice bike, and then we get to, of course, get that up to him. Over the winter, we got the Suzuki DS80 build. That is going to be a fun bike. We're going to Todd from GTZ Garage has sent me up a whole complete engine. We're going to be putting that on the bike, but we're still going to do the crank bearings on the motor that came off of it because I want to reunite the frame with the original motor. So we'll have that. Just trying to get organized has been crazy. Why have you guys here? If you guys could let me know, are you guys interested when I do lawnmower repair? Because I do a lot of lawnmowers, snow blowers, all kinds of stuff. So if you guys if that's something you're interested in, I'll do a lot more videos because I do that pretty much during the day. So let me know what you guys feel about that. I shot a leaf blower video, repair video. I do a lot of, pretty much if it's got an engine on it, I work on it. But really, I only turn the camera on for when I'm doing bikes. So if that's something you guys are interested in learning about, I'll definitely put that on there for you. So pretty cool. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. That's why I'm doing these Two-Stroke Tuesday chats. And I'm going to be doing these every Tuesday. So Two-Stroke Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be a great time to get, talk with me. If you guys have any questions, by all means. And also, if you guys can send me pictures of your builds, that would be great. I would like to see chainsaw repairs. I could do that. I could do some two-stroke stuff. That's great. Yeah, some, chainsaw stuff. I actually built my, I have a Husqvarna 55 Rancher. And I built that screw by screw. I bought that piece by piece when I lived up in the White Mountains. My son and I built that at the kitchen table. Every week I'd bring home parts for that thing, and then we'd put them all together. So that was a pretty cool build. Yeah, I do all kinds of two-strokes. And the thing with the two-stroke chainsaws, the same things apply to the dirt bikes. So you still have to have your compression. What do you call it there? Yep, weed whackers. Yep, it's all the same. Pretty much the same stuff that we're doing on the bikes, like compression, ignition. You test it all the same way. So I can do that for you guys. I can go over all that. Absolutely, we can do plenty of videos on that. Yeah, because weed whackers and chainsaws basically the same fundamentals. It's a fixed ignition system, CDIs. All the stuff had points. But you don't see that type of stuff no more. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we could definitely do stuff like that. We do I do all kinds of small engine repair off camera. So I figured I'd ask you guys if that'd be something you're interested in. And in fact, I got a bunch of, I'm gonna be taking my white four-wheeler next year, not this year, but I got a snowblower attachment. I'm probably gonna put on that. It'd be pretty cool. So yeah, we do all kinds of stuff. So I crossed the the border on all that. That's what I do. So I do automotive repair. I post some videos on that. Not a whole lot, like I did my ignition system on my truck. It's kind of feeling out which way I want to take the channel, But I want to keep the two-stroke bikes. That's my primary. So 2, 4, all that type of stuff. So. We got a lot of stuff to build, a lot. We have the Yamaha LB50, so we have that. We have to get going, get that cracking on. A lot of winter stuff, a lot of winter projects. We're just gonna keep going. Now that we got the tent and the lift, and Robert donated that nice jack to the channel. That was pretty cool. So that's a huge help, huge help. So, and all the help that I get, because like I said, everything I do on the channel is completely out of pocket, and sometimes you get a few donations, which helps out, and that was a huge help because I've been looking for one of those. You saw how I had Aaron's bike on that, recycling bin. Now I don't have to do that. So because of that, I could put that bike on backwards, get up and backwards, and then take there's a hole cut out on the floor. I could take that out, put that jack under, and take the tire right up to the bottom. So that's pretty neat. Helps when you're doing fork seals, So, and if there's videos that I got a couple requests for a KB 100, and I don't have a KB. I could do requests on bikes that I have. I've been getting a lot of requests for the Yamaha Oiler, so I'm going to be doing videos on that as well. So I'm just trying to get comfortable here, guys. Back's a little tight today. Moved 3 riding lawnmowers today. one of them had no front wheels and a stock transmission. So it's crazy. Cool, yeah, no, Jeff, that would be handy. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to focus, and I mean, we're approaching 700 videos, and it's quite a library, for me anyway. I didn't think this channel was going to go as big as it did, and you guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you for your comments, your contributions to the channel, all that stuff. This has been growing like crazy, and I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments, all your suggestions, and yeah, if that's handy, I'll do it. I'll throw that on there. So I'll turn the videos on when I'm doing all kinds of stuff. So I kind of like to do the bikes at night, and then I'll do some videos during the day, whenever I'm working on them. I'll throw the camera on for a little bit. See, what I like to do is I like to do a project like Aaron's bike, show you guys the first look. We'll work on it. We'll bring it all the way through all of its steps. And then a final, goodbye to you, like we did on Michael's bike. That KE100, that was the first kick bike. That thing came out beautiful. That's the way I like doing them. And I like showing you guys the diagnostics, the steps, and everything in between. Now that I got this Samsung S20, this is what I record with. This is pretty much everything. I mean, I need to get a better camera for mounted on the bikes, but this comes in handy for doing. This is what I do all your videos on, and then I use a Windows Movie Maker to link all the videos, which I wasn't able to do before. So, and I'm not a computer tech savvy guy, so I mean I know how to navigate through the internet and all that, and look up parts and get what I need, but as far as editing and all that, I don't edit. I just take a clip of a video. I take another clip of a video, and I just put them together, and then and there we go. So what you guys see when I mess up, you guys see it. Just like you guys, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you mess up. You don't know what's going to happen from time to time. So it's nice to be able to see someone actually messing up. You see all these videos on YouTube, and they're perfect. They got like this big editing crew. So no, not here. That's it. So, but you guys been enjoying it, and your comments have been outstanding. So how's everybody doing with their bikes? Anybody having any problems with their bikes? I like it when you guys send me the to my the email, the Handy Motorman 76. I like seeing your write-ups on your pictures of your bikes, and seeing what I helped you out with, and it's pretty neat doing that. I love seeing that type of stuff. You guys have been awesome with that. I like to take what I'm thinking about doing is taking all those and putting a collage together of pictures of people's bikes and their comments, and just doing a video on just that. I think that'd be really, nice. We got a lot of stuff coming up, so it's just been, wow. I'm kind of overwhelmed. We got the Harvey Spooner 4-wheeler, so that was pretty cool. And then we got, whatchamacallit there, we got the 4-wheeler, and then the one I just picked up. So we're going to take those two and make those one. What is that? The Suzuki TS, yeah, that is a great bike. The TS 125 that we're working on, that's Dave's bike. That's the one I was just talking about earlier. That's the next one on the chopping block. That thing is going to be a nice one. Now, that has a unique problem with it. So I did a video and showed you guys how to check on the outside for air leaks. And this one has an internal crank seal. Yes, I almost had a GT 750. So, yeah, that is a great bike. I've been looking for one. I almost had one, and the whole deal fell through. And it was an older one, but it was complete. But it was all seized up, so the deal, I wasn't able to do it. I'm kind of bummed about that. I actually have a video on that if you want to look at it. But the deal did fall through. But back on Dave's bike, that has an outboard, what you call it, the crank seal, and then an inboard crank seal, and that's the one that always goes. So the seal is next to the crank, and then the bearing's on the outside. So you have to split the case and tear it all apart. Finish my 97 CR 125R 6th ass. Oh, I bet it is. The 125R is a great bike. Definitely a great bike. A 97 too, that thing must haul. Those things, the earlier ones were pretty nice too, but as they got through the years, they really tore it up. I haven't been doing too many. I haven't gotten any Hondas coming in, so I'd like to get my hands on a Honda. I'd like to get my hands on a mini bike, a Honda mini bike, like a Honda 50 or a CT90, something like that to work on. But normally when you find them, they're crazy money. I am from Methuen, Massachusetts, in the United States of America. I always say that because a lot of people are like, oh, where are you from? And I have to say America because you guys are from all over the place. Austin, where are you from? Yeah, I bet it's hard to keep that front end down on that CR1, the 125. That thing must come up quick. North Carolina, nice. Nice. I actually went through North Carolina on my way to Florida to go bring my mother-in-law because we bought her house. There's stuff down there. Well, not really working on snowmobiles, and the reason for that is, well, I don't really like the winter. Not my thing. I was an oil guy for a very long time. In fact, I'm wearing one of my Dead River shirts. I used to deliver home heating oil. And I spent all day out there and sometimes half the night delivering oil. I hated winter. In fact, I actually built a 20 horsepower snowblower, which I'll show you guys in one of my videos. Oh, Canada, nice. Nice. One of my favorite YouTubers is up there. Nick's Garage. You guys have a chance to go check out him. He's up there and he builds Mopars. I'm not even a Mopar guy, but the way he does them is so, he's right on it. Deliver oil and pee. I don't know what that means. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I delivered oil for a while. In fact, I have a video on how to relight if anybody loses oil in the middle of the night. You can put diesel fuel in it and relight it, and I have a video on how to relight a furnace. And that helped out a lot of people. You guys should read those comments. Those are some great comments. But yeah. So we got back on Dave's bike. We got Dave's bike. We got not in Pennsylvania, no, New Hampshire and Massachusetts. But we're gonna go like I do on all the bikes, tire to tire on Dave's bike, fix all the lights, and we had it running. It runs great, but when it comes to a stop, the RPMs scream way up because that's when once it starts to build up a little bit of temperature, the oil seal opens up, sucks air, and then it takes off. So an air leak is literally like, the slide in the carburetor? When you have an air leak, instead of the slide being up, it bypasses the slide and sucks air from another spot. And that's called a lean condition. And that is very, very bad for a bike. Any bike, don't care what you have, that's bad. 4 strokes, handle it a lot better. They still speed up, but they don't burn up. Where a 2-stroke will definitely burn up. It becomes like a cutting torch in there and just melts it. So, yeah, it's pretty sick. So, and, it's scary because if you're at a stoplight and then you go to take off and that, you blow that seal right then and there, that thing is just going to take off on you. You're going to be doing a wheelie up the street like you read about. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Yeah, we got Alvin's bike, like I said, is the ignition bike problem. And he has, what what do you call it? He just got that bike, so that's a pretty cool bike. So he don't know anything about it. We don't know what works and what doesn't work, and that is why I go from tire to tire, because you really don't know. So we check out all the systems. I got asked a question earlier about when, how do I, like the cables I had for Aaron's bike, the speedometer cable broke, and I just came back with another one. I strip bikes down. So I get a bike, I strip it down, and I take all the parts, put it up there, and that's how I end up with so many covers. And after a while, you end up with a plethora of parts, So what you say? I'm doing a 72 Suzuki TS 125 rebuilt two-stroke piston with season. I'm going to be doing a whole, Austin, I'm going to be going through that entire TS 125. The whole motor's coming apart. We're stripping it right down, checking everything, putting it all back together, setting up the entire motor. So that's going to be great videos for you to watch. And, of course, that's going to be another library of videos on the channel. Used to get cylinders recoded. I have a gentleman in Greenville, New Hampshire, that I sent my cylinder out to, and then he sends it out from there to a, what do you call it there? What's that name of that company's? I forgot the name of the company that he sent it out to. I can get you that information now. It's expensive. Having a cylinder recoated is very, very expensive. In fact, to bore out a cylinder is only like $89. But to have it recoated and bored out, and the shipping and everything else, by the time it's all said and done, you're looking at around $300, which a lot of people will freak out because, whoa, that's a lot of money. But with that coat, if there's scoring in your cylinder, that coating will fill that in. That coating will bring that cylinder right back to brand new. Now, the reason why that is there, that coating, is your cylinders are nice and parallel, nice and straight down, okay? What happens is the heat, you got long cooling fins on top, small ones down bottom. So now you got better cooling up top, less cooling down bottom. And if you don't have the coating on there, your cylinders will be like that, all wobbly, and you'll lose compression and efficiency. That cylinder, that coating is strong. It keeps them parallel. It evenly displaces the heat out to the coolant fins. So the air passing through your coolant fins is what keeps it cool. So that's why that coating is very important. If you don't have that coating, you're going to destroy that cylinder pretty quickly. And it's just, you need it. So you can find earlier cast iron cylinders. Now, cast iron has its ups and downs. It's not coolant efficiency like the aluminum. However, the longevity and the fact that you could just take a cylinder hone and hone it yourself, or have it out and bore it out for like $80-$90, the cast iron's a little better way to go. But if you're trying to build a bike that you want a performance, you want the aluminum one, because you have an aluminum head and aluminum cylinder. So the heat between the two, the relationship is going to be equal. Where on a cast iron, the aluminum's going to get hot and the cast iron's going to get hot, but they're going to be at two different temperatures. So that's why you want to do that. What was I going to say? The cast iron, you can port that thing a lot easier than you can the aluminum. It's a way more forgiving. But people don't like the cast iron because it's heavy. It's like, I think it's like 4 or 5 pounds heavier. And your idea with a bike is to get the bike nice and light. Thank you, Austin. I enjoy doing them. Honestly, I enjoy doing the videos. I enjoy getting all this information out there, and I enjoy teaching you guys what I know. And I've been doing this stuff, like I said, for 30 years. I started when I was 10, started with a lawnmower, and escalated from there. It's gone up crazy. And it started with my brother. If you want to hear that story, I'll tell you. I was a kid, watched my brother through a window, and him and a bunch of his friends took a motor out of a van with nothing but a bar and a chain, and that's how they did it. And I'll tell you, man, that was it for me. After I saw that engine on the ground, they took the other engine, hooked it onto the chains, put it in the vehicle, set it all up, and drove it away. I knew I wanted to be a mechanic. Is this normal on a top end build on an MX-80? Even doesn't look too good. What I do with the what's that? You can see the tiny. No, you should not see an air gap. When that gasket is on there, there should be no gaps. And if you watched Aaron's bike when I did the top end on that, when I was showing the cylinders, I showed you how to check that. There's a way you can check that in using a straight edge and a fail gauge. You definitely want to make sure you what do you call it there? You make sure both surfaces are flat, and you can use a sharpening stone for a knife, going back and forth with a little bit of WD-40. I didn't have to. His was all covered in oil. The way about it. How you doing? But yeah, no, you just make sure that's nice and smooth on the head and the cylinder. Make sure you get a gasket in there, and it's good. Copper gaskets can be cleaned up and reused most of the time, unless they're blown. And in fact, I should show you guys what a blown head. I don't have any with me, obviously, right now. I'm in my living room, but I will do that on one of my videos. I will show you guys what a blown head gasket looks like. You'll see. You'll be looking at the gasket. You'll have your 4 holes, and then you'll see like a black strip where it just blew out. I mean, at that point, it's junk. But a copper head gasket is, well, it's good even when it's blown because you can use it as a gasket scraper. Is it true that a GT80 can be started and ran in reverse? 2 strokes can run in reverse. Yep, I mean, if you take on the KE100 or any of those motors, you can rotate the rotary valve around and spin the engine backwards and it'll start. But yes, a 2-stroke will run backwards. They don't like it, but they'll do it. And the exhaust will go out the same way. It just changes the direction of the crank. So it will be efficient. It'll do the same exact thing. But it's not common. Like if you're riding the bike and the thing, stalls out and then you restart it up, it's never gonna start backwards unless you physically rotate it backwards. I'll put a part. Cool. Yeah, no, definitely check all your stuff. You should never have the bike in a position to try to start it backwards. It's not good for it, but it will do it. It's kind of like a diesel. A diesel can run backwards. Pretty much anything. Like on a boat motor, with a car engine in it, they'll have 2, like say 4 351s in them or 350 Chevys. And one engine has a starter that spins backwards, and that's how they run them. They just spin them backwards. G4s and G5s, there's a lot of differences. One of them, most importantly, is the ignition systems, or charging systems, I should say, the spaghetti wiring. Now, when I call spaghetti wiring, it's got the pink, the blue, the green, the black, the yellow. Some of them have only a couple of those. Some of them have more than a couple of those. It's basically the pink wire goes up to your headlight. Some of them use that pink wire to go up to an ignition switch first, then to your light. It's all in the way they routed the G4s and G5s. The specifications on them range from wrist pin diameter. So some of the early G4s had a smaller wrist pin diameter than the G5, so you can't interchange the pistons. Also, what they call deck height. Deck height is the height of the cylinder from where the base mounts. So not the part that goes into the engine, but the part where the gasket meets to the top where the head gasket meets. That's called your deck height. And on the G4s, the early ones with the smaller wrist pin had a smaller deck height than the G5s. Also, too, they had a different rotary valve on some of them. It was a really thick, like a some kind of weird material, like a fiber material, where the G5s are that really thin steel. So that was a great question. Yeah, but the motors will bolt right in, and you can use them. Also, too, there was one other thing I remember is the crankshaft taper. So if you look at where your flywheel mounts on, the shaft is tapered right there. The taper is different between the G4 and the G5, so that flywheel that has a crisp, sharp edge on it won't fit on one that has a flywheel with a rounded edge. So there's a couple of differences between the G4s and the G5s. But the size of the chain is a 420 chain. I don't know what the length is. I think it's like around 110, 112 length. So, but it is the 420 chain. That's what I use on that. So, and you had a 42 tooth sprocket in the back and a 15 in the front. That right there is the standard way they came. On that right there, if you put a bigger sprocket on the back and keep your 15 in the front, that thing is going to take off a whole lot better and climb a whole lot better. And it's better for city driving. So if you go with like, it came with a 42 tooth. If you went to, say, a 45 or a 47, that's great. I'm running a 50 on mine, on my KE100, and top speed's around 47 miles an hour. It's a really great gear. It takes off like crazy. I can climb with it. I can go anywhere with it. Thing's awesome. I really love it. So yeah, it's all in the gear ratios we got here. Yep, the 428 chain is the same. The 420, 428. The difference is the width of the link. That's all. So you'll probably notice a little bit more side-to-side slap than you would the up and down slap, because the chain link is the same between your two pins. Is the same. It's just on the 428 chain is wider. That's all. But if you have a wider gear in the back, which a lot of people do, that's the heavy-duty sprocket set, then you could use the 428H. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool. That's a good chain. So I have that on my. I think that's the chain. The 428H is the chain I'm running on my yellow KM100. I got that kit as a freebie, so I used it. But yeah, that's on a 428 on that. So, but they came with the 420s. Cool. Yeah, we got that right there was a 3/8 adapter. A 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter, and what I did was I took my M12 cutoff wheel and I just put a groove in it. You can use a hacksaw, and I showed it at the end of that video. I showed you how I made that. I always tell people, watch the videos to the end, because that's where the information, a lot of my information I put in there is towards the end of the video. But yeah, I just take the little square where it would go into a socket, and I cut a groove into it, and so it's wide enough to fit into an oil pump, and then you spin it in the forward direction. I messed up. I said in the video reverse, but it's not. It's in the forward directions because of the way I was looking at it. And you can see it actually pumps through the line, which is pretty cool. And you can tell your oil pump is working. Yes, that was a 1/4 inch to 3/8 extension, adapter. And you can get those at any hardware store, Walmart, any auto parts store has those as well. A lot of the tools that I make is because they don't make them. You can't buy stuff like that. And like that adapter I made for fuel tanks when I'm putting the acid in the tank, I made that little block off plate. It's very important to have stuff, tools. You just need them to be made. You know, you need certain tools, and sometimes you have to be creative and you have to make them. Kind of like that pressure testing kit that I made, which I'm going to show you guys how to do a pressure test on a motor. We're going to do, I have to make another one for the TS, and then I'll show you guys how to, because after we do Dave's motor, we'll get a pressure test and make sure it's all sealed up. Now, I did spray around his motor to check for leaks, and that's how I determined that it was the crank seals. I knew it was sucking air. I rolled out the cylinder, the whole top end, that gasket, the exhaust, the intake, the carburetor, all that has been ruled out. So now I know it's the crank seals. So what I do is I run the bike to check for the oil, to make sure your oil pump is good. Smoke. That's pretty much it, smoke. You'll see smoke coming out your tailpipe, you know you're getting oil. You can check, you'll know if you're not getting oil because your temperature on your bike will come up and you'll start to smell. You'll have the smell from your bike motor, like, okay, this thing's starting to heat up. The oil pumps on these bikes are made by Mikuni, the same people who make the carburetors, who've been making them for 100 years. These oil pumps are super reliable. I use a clear hose coming from my oil tank all the way down to my pump, and then when you're doing your inspections on your bike, you can actually take your carburetor cover off, and you'll see that there's no air bubbles, and you'll see that the oil line is completely filled with oil. Those pumps don't quit. In fact, the only pump I've ever had go bad was the one on my yellow KM100. And what happened with that was it over-oiled. In fact, it went through half a tank of oil in one night, overnight. Just packed. It was parked there. The oiler just let the oil right through the pump, and it just went right into the engine. It was a mess. And trying to kick that thing over, oh my God, I almost broke my ankle. Yeah, and that was the only time it's ever happened. I'm like, okay, I got to change this now. So, yeah, that was my problem. So the oil pump is the way to go. That right there. So the way it works is that keeps your oil ratio the same no matter where your throttle is. So like a lot of people are like, oh, what's the oil pump ratio? Or, what's the premix ratio? Okay. The thing is with the premix doesn't adequately lubricate your rotary valve. That's why you have problems with the rotary valves burning out. They do burn out. It happens if you premix them. If you run the oil pump, that oil injector is actually spraying directly on the valve as it's spinning. So that the rotary valve is actually riding on a cushion of oil on both sides. If you do premix, it's only getting oil on one side, and then the other side's up against the motor, and it's just all friction. So all you're doing is losing power, and you're burning up your disc. And you will eventually end up replacing it. It'll last for a while because it's getting some oil, but not adequate enough oil. And at the bottom of that is the hole where your main bearing gets its oil from. And I always tell people these are not KX bikes. So if you look at like a KX80 or a KX90 or a KX100, those bikes are designed for premix. They're reed valves. They just goes in and does what it on a KX motor. It literally injects right at the bottom between the piston and the crank. So it's the splash effect is amazing. Why doesn't it start when it's cold? Well, there's a couple things that could be. One, what kind of air filter are you using? Are you using the factory air filter, or are you using one of those cone filters? If you're running one of those cone filters, you could be getting too much air. Two, your bike might not be jetted properly. Third, check your spark plug gaps. All right, because these bikes are here normally start pretty good in the cold. You put the choke on, and typically in the cold, it's about 2 kicks. They should start on 2 kicks. If you're kicking the bike more than 2 kicks in the cold, you might have something kind of going on. So there's a couple things to check. Check your spark plug gap, and check and make sure you're running a factory air filter because you might be getting too much air. Anything aftermarket will alter these bikes. So the best air filter that I find is the UNI air filters. Those are the best air filters to buy. They have the adequate restriction needed. That's awesome, Sean. I love hearing those stories. And when they're running good, that's what I want. Nice. Yeah, 10 speeds are a great bike. In fact, they did that to the KE 102 motor, which we're waiting for a part to come back for. Yeah, no, that's great. I really appreciate those comments. Those are awesome. I enjoy helping you guys. I see this couch. This couch, I love this couch. This is a very comfortable couch. My job is to get you guys off these couches and out there turning wrenches. And I want to teach you guys how to be mechanics. When you guys have the wrench in your hand, you got my videos, you get these manuals, and you guys will be certified mechanics by the time I'm done with you. I swear to God. I'm sharing all my experience with you guys and teaching you guys my tips and tricks. And I am I have not even begun to scratch the surface of what I'm going to be showing you guys. You're welcome, Nick. That's awesome. Yeah, restoring these bikes is fun. I was going to do some restoration stuff on my bikes. I love the patina, guys. I don't know if I can ride something that's perfect. I don't. Thank you. I enjoy putting this information out there for you guys. And, we're building a community of bikers. Mechanics. These bikes have been sitting around people's yards, houses, attics, barns. My job is to prevent them from going to the junkyard. And I'll tell you, I've had school teachers praise me on my videos. We don't swear. It's a nice, clean channel. We have a great group of people. And I say this because of you guys. This is my best channel. This is the best channel on YouTube. Yeah, I like to use I like to use the assembly lube because of its tackiness. So when you use motor oil, the motor oil will drain down and it'll eventually drain off. And not every bike you're going to put together and start it right up. The assembly lube that I use from, what do you call it there? Permatex, that has tackiness. So if you put a little dot on your finger and you go like this, you'll actually see it start to stretch out. That's called tackiness. And that right there is what keeps the oil on the bearings, on the seals. I lubricate the seal, everything. You can't use too much oil. The worst case scenario, when you go to start these bikes up, it's going to smoke like a banshee. It's a two-stroke. It's going to do it anyway. So why not help it along? So yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I always use the Permatex line has been great. And the Honda Bond, in my personal opinion, this is from my experiences, there is not a better RTV silicone. You want to come say hi? Come say hi. Come say hi to my subscribers. I'll introduce you guys to my son. My son, Andy. You guys seen him in many videos early on. He's my next mechanic right here. Don't kick that, buddy. Yep, this is my next little mechanic right here. Going to be working on his bikes. And you guys saw the Andrew build. This is his. He's going to be riding that next year. Getting some training wheels.
Yep.
Hey, dude. Say hi.
Hi.
We're going to be working on a YouTube channel for him next. He's a gamer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right there, we got, hey, Andy. You gonna wave? You gonna say hi? So.
Oh, one person said, hey, dude.
Yep, hey, dude. So, first live chat. Yep, pretty soon he'll be doing this too.
Yep.
Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
So cool. Yeah, it is great stuff, and I enjoy I just overwhelmed. I can't express my gratitude enough for the comments and where you guys are in your projects, and I love being part of them. And it's amazing to me that this channel has actually helped people from all over the world, not just the United States, all over the place. I've had people sending in license plates from where they live, and it's been crazy. And we're going to be doing a collage on license plates underneath my USA 1, and so that's going to be pretty cool. Yep, we're going to be doing that with I'm trying to get all 50 states.
Wow. Wow.
Is that cool?
One person said,
LOL, good stuff.
hello, good stuff.
I like to read my comments. So yeah, no, there's a lot of cool projects in between all this stuff. So we're just trying to fit it all in. That's the part, you know. That's the heart. You know, just trying to put it all together and teach you guys, show you guys, work on these problems together. The motorcycle, the bikes, the ignition systems, that is the most complex part. Once you get past your electrical and you understand that because the light's not coming on, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not getting power. It may not be getting the ground. So you don't have to go and buy $30,000 worth of tools. You don't have to. Harbor Freight works, Walmart, those little multimeters, you can get those cheap ones. Those work. Even the analog ones, you can still use those today. You just have to know how to read them, you know. But there's a lot of diagnostics, and you guys see me use my big torque wrench or my small one. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to have, like I said, $30,000 worth of equipment to go ahead and do these bikes. You can go to yard sales, get metrics. You know, go for metric sockets. Go for the number 3 screwdrivers. Scoff all that stuff up. That's the stuff that nobody uses because everything pretty much in the regular world is number 2 screwdrivers. So the number 3 is what we use on these Kawasaki's to stop them from stripping out. I personally use Milwaukee M12, but I'm going to tell you something. There's a little secret for you. They make a little, it's white. I forgot the name of it, but it's a little screw gun over at Walmart. And it's actually pretty torquey. I've used it. I tried it out. And I'll tell you, it was awesome. It worked pretty well. And you guys can get that with the number 3 bits and tear apart your bikes. They work out great. The thing with that is, you know how you have that impact, you know, you put the impact on, you whack it with a hammer, and it breaks it all free. Those are great for stripped out bolts. But if you use an impact gun, like a screw gun, that right there shocks them loose at the same time. It just rips them out, and it works great. So it's pretty neat how that all works. So other things that we do is like containers. Save your containers. And I'm going to be doing a video on that too. You'll be seeing that probably when we're doing Dave's bike. All those little containers that you guys save, you know, for like butter containers, pill bottles, little boxes. Save all that stuff because you can baggies. You can write on them with a Sharpie, and I'm going to show you guys how I do all that stuff on the channel. Clear water bottles. These are great. I have about 2 to 3 of these things, and these are great for a fuel sample. Now, why do you need a fuel sample? So after this water is all done, after you drank all your water, you tip it upside down and let it drain out completely. So there's no more water, it's not damp, moist, or nothing. Then you save it. Now you want to go and get a fuel sample. You take the fuel line off your carb, you stick it in the ball, you turn your petcock on and fill it up. Now you have a clear view to see if there's any cloudiness in your fuel, if there's any water, because you'll see the water separate from the fuel. These are great for that. Why is that important? Because if you have moisture, which is condensation that can get into your fuel tank, that can make your bikes run poorly. By taking a fuel sample from the petcock, you're pulling the fuel from the bottom of the tank into a nice, clear, clean bottle, and you can see what's going on in your fuel. And that right there can cause hesitations, overheating, bucking, kicking, hard starting, all that type of stuff. So inside of the tank, I have a scale of rust. Okay, I look at the tank and I determine if it's a really light rust, like if I can see like the bottom a little bit, or it's really like kind of, very light rust. What I will use on that is I'll cap it off, because you have to remove your petcock, no matter which one it is. You have to remove it, because either way, what I'm about to tell you will eat that petcock. It'll just make it into a pile of mush. What I use is vinegar, and I have that little tool that I made with the 2 screws. I put that on there. I use vinegar. Vinegar will take off the light to moderate stuff. And here's a little tip for you: if you use that rust, evapor rust, it's kind of like vinegar. It doesn't. There's no odor to that though, but it does the same thing. Okay, and you want to use it if you're using vinegar. Couple rules of vinegar: you want to use it in a area where it's ventilated, because it stinks, and you want to make sure that the petcock is gone, and you want to make sure you're at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit when you're using the vinegar, because it really doesn't work in the cold. And 70 degrees or more. So if the hotter it is, the better off you are. And then you flush it out with water, and I use my little heat gun and blow that out. If it's really heavy rust, I mean just bad rust, what I use in that case is I use the muriatic acid there, and I put that in there. That you need gloves, because that stuff will burn your skin pretty down there instant. I use the concentrate, so I just dump that right in there, and you will literally see a haze coming off the top of the tank. Once again, on that, you can't use a fuel cap. You have to remove your petcock and block that off. And you put that on there, and literally wherever you put it on the side, you want to tip it around, but you don't want it to leak out. That works within an hour, guys. You put that in there, the acid off your bike, it will work within an hour. It'll start to really clean that thing up. You'll see metal. But if your tank is really, really bad and there's pinholes, it'll eat right. It'll make that pinhole a little bigger, and you'll start to leak it out. Let's see. Got my quad. Replace the source. Coil. Okay, so it really everybody goes for the coil, the ignition coil. I always tell people. I mean, I don't know if I believe your bike is CDI. I would check that CDI box, because the ignition coils on these bikes very rarely go. You're more apt if you have a points ignition bike. Tell you what you gotta do: points, condenser, spark plug. Period. Done. If you have a CDI bike, no spark. Go for check your power source. Make sure you're getting power to your CDI, and if you are, most likely it's your CDI box is gone. How long do I soak it in vinegar? I basically leave it in there for the day, 24 hours, and I fill the tank right up to the brim. And I just let it in there for the day, and then if it doesn't do it within a day, then I have to hit it with the acid. Anything other than that, it's really just, it makes it into like a soup, and it's really just nasty in there. Wilson Cub. So what I use is I use my ultrasonic cleaner on carburetors like your Gilson. So I put that in there. I crank the heat way up, and I put that on it. Now my ultrasonic cleaner is about $200. You don't need to spend that type of money. Harbor Freight has a really cool little one that heats up, and I think they're like $80. And you'll use it for all kinds of things. And guys, I'm going to tell you guys a little tip. If your wife or girlfriend says, "You can't buy that," say, "It's a jewelry cleaner. You can use it too." Problem solved. See, I'm solving all kinds of problems here, guys. All right, what else we got? The LT125, we haven't touched them. We moved them up to the top there. We are going to do first starts on both bikes, and we're going to be going right through those bikes. Those are over the winter after we get done after Alvin's bike. Okay, we have Harvey Spooner's two-stroke, the KD80, and then we got Robert's bike, the DT400. But in between those bikes, we're going to stop pulling in the 125s and going through those because I want to get those up and going. We have everything from wheel bearings on those to valve adjustments, oil changes, complete tune-ups on them, testing, redoing the whole thing, swapping parts, checking parts, and the LT125 is going to be some great videos on that, guys. Now that bike right there is a little, I call it a useless bike because it really is not something you want to take on a trail. The suspension, there's no springs, there's no suspension at all on the bike. What you do is you lower the air pressure on the tires. So the tires are squishy, and that is your suspension. But what we're going to do with it is we're going to put riding lawnmower tires on it like I did my my Yamaha Breeze, and that's going to bring that bike to something really useful because we're going to be doing something really super cool with the LT125 afterwards. And coincidentally, you don't need suspension for it. So that's what we're going to be doing. That my LT125 is going to be a yard donkey, used around the yard, but what I'm going to do with it is super cool. You're going to like it. And the parts bike is just going to go out back, covered over, and be inventoried. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're cheap enough. They're Christmas presents, and both of you guys just got to make sure you clean out your carburetor debris, and that's really what it is. The Ultrasonic Cleaner was designed for jewelry and silverware. So, like big fancy people who have more money than you and I will ever see in a lifetime use ultrasonic cleaners to clean their silverware. Because the real silverware, not the Walmart silverware that you and I would have. I'm talking about like Jay-Z and Beyonce uses that type of silverware. The butlers use that type of cleaner. You have to put the special chemical in there. So yeah, that's what it's for. And my ultrasonic cleaner, I am using about 3 to 4 ounces of simple green. And they have a simple green for aluminum. I got to try that out. I haven't tried it out yet. Doesn't matter what you have for an ultrasonic cleaner. If you leave the carburetor in too long, it will turn different colors. That doesn't mean that the carburetor is bad. Just so you know, it'll make the jets all tarnished, like darker color instead of being bright gold. They'll be like a brown or a bronze. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool how that works. So, yeah, and you can use it for everything. I had that KV75 engine I got. I actually took that whole engine block and stuck that in my ultrasonic cleaner to clean the internal parts of the engine because it was really, really bad. So you could do that too. You can use it for engine halves, cases. So if you have like a bearing or anything like that had like metal in it, and you're like, oh my God, this is a one-off bearing. I can't get this bearing. What do I do with this bearing? You can put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and it will work. It'll clean it out, which is pretty nice. You can use it for carburetors. You want to disassemble your oil pumps. You can disassemble your oil pump and put that right in your ultrasonic cleaner, and that will clean it just like a carburetor, which is pretty nice. Crankshafts. If you got crankshafts, you can put a crankshaft in there. Cylinder heads, cylinders. After you hone a cylinder, you want to make sure you get all the cleaning, all the metal out. Put it right in the ultrasonic cleaner, let it run for a half hour. Take it out, blow it out, wash it out with regular water and soap, and you're good to go. So a couple cool things right there. And you can use it for anything, really. So it's pretty neat. So yeah, that was That was a cool thing. So, and I've used them. I had I had a tail light assembly that someone had painted, and I used the acetone, cleaned it all up, rinsed it off after I got all the paint off, and I threw that in my ultrasonic cleaner, and that did all the finishing. Like, you know how the metal is, it's got like little lips on it and everything else. That got all up inside there and all nice and cleaned out. So you can use an ultrasonic cleaner pretty much for anything and everything. So it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you have. Like a magneto, you can use it on a magneto. If you have a magneto that's been just all corroded and just looks absolutely terrible, loosen up all the screws first, put it in there. Then you can hit it with like a brass brush, and that'll bring it back a little bit. So, pretty groovy, pretty nice. So, there's so many. What you can do with that thing is endless. If you have a directional that's all corroded, you can throw that in there. Things back. It's also good for reconditioning rubber. So, like if you have a KE100 and it's got the you're noticing that your pedestals, that hold the marker light on, are all like deteriorated. You can throw that in there, and it will soften up the rubber and give you some more time. Speaking about that, a lot of people have been asking me, Kevin, where do you get these directionals? I can't find these things anywhere, and I want to put my bike back to original. The KLR 650 or 250s, the rare ones are the same. The only difference is they got a different part number because they have a 12-volt bulb in them. You just got to put your 6-volt bulb in them, and they will work just fine. Same wiring, no difference. A lot of these bikes that we work on are part of a family. So, like, we have, what was I going to say? You have the Yamahas, the Suzukis, and all that. They're all part of a family, and these families of bikes share a lot of the same parts. Kind of like the, for instance, the Yamaha GT80, the headlight bulb is the same as the KV75, so you can swap those those bulbs out. The DS80, the Suzuki DS80 coil, ignition coil for the CDI, is the same one used on the KDX 50, the Suzuki Junior 50, the LT 50, the KE 100 from 96 to 2001. That ignition coil with the CDI is the same as on the Suzuki. And coincidentally, the KDX 50 Kawasaki, that coil will work on a KE 100 that has CDI. So, pretty cool on that. There's been a lot of people ask me, Kevin, where do you get your parts from? I strip bikes. I get bikes. I take junk bikes. I don't care what the condition is. If it's free, it's cheap, I'll pick it up, tear it apart if it's no good. And then I'll take those parts and I'll use those parts on other builds. So, pretty neat. There's, what do you call it there? The bikes that I have, I keep those bikes and I just keep building on them and making them better. We're going to be putting a speedometer on my, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I'm going to put a whole speedometer assembly onto my my KD80. That's going to have a speedometer. Can you guys hear me? Because it says I'm what do you call it there? Having some issues with connections. Here we go. You guys there? Just had a stability problem with the internet connection. Hopefully it all works. So, yeah, there we go. Speaking of bulbs, I have not updated to an LED bulb. There's a couple of reasons why I haven't updated to LED bulbs. LEDs are great bulbs. They are super bright and they look great. But these are AC magnetos, and when you take an AC magneto and you run it through a LED bulb, which LED is light emitting diode. It changes to DC at that end of the spectrum, and it causes your other lights to brighten up as well because there's no load. What that means is when you get into the high RPMs, you're really taxing on the other bulbs. So you really got to do your system correctly, which means you'd have to add a resistor into that circuit to compensate for the headlight. Oh, I must have was reading this. Not sure how. I'm not sure. Where are you, Nick? I'm in Methuen, Massachusetts. Yeah, these Suzuki pots are great. What's all? Okay. So, yeah, the Suzuki stuff. I have. Where are you? Oh, okay. So you're not too far. I mean, you're a few hours away from me. Yeah, about I think you're like, well, okay, like 2 hours or so. It depends on what part of Connecticut. Like, I'm not really familiar with Woodstock, Connecticut. I'm in Massachusetts, so I'm up by the New Hampshire border. So I actually border Salem, New Hampshire. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of parts out there, parts and pieces. So are you building these 125s? Is that what you're doing, Nick? Because the 125 is just it's a great bike. It's a nice little bike, but like Harvey Spooner said in his video, you guys can go check that out. Go check out Harvey Spooner's channel. You type in Kevin Bergeron on Harvey Spooner, or Harvey Spooner and Kevin Bergeron, and you'll see the video when I was up at his house, at his place. He's got four-wheelers, like, oh my God. And he gave me that four-wheeler. He's like, oh, the thing steers like a pig. It's because it's got bald tires and there's no suspension. He was dead accurate. But it's a great bike. It really is. And what I'm going to do with the bike is going to be absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. You guys are going to love it. I just want to make sure the bike is 100% sound. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. What are you doing with the piece? Are you going to build another one? Is that what you're planning on doing? Because that's what we're going to do with this one. We're going to take all the parts, all the best parts. I put them into one, build one good solid bike, and then the other one goes out back until I get another one for parts, and then I'll build another one. That's how I end up with all these bikes. One bike led into another bike, into another bike. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome for the videos. I'm happy to do them. I enjoy doing them. It is my honor to do these videos. I enjoy spending time with you guys, talking with you guys, and doing all these. Yeah, that's a pretty good price. That's a pretty good price. You have to send me an offline on my email. Handy Motor Man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we do, and they're gonna these bikes are just awesome. I love doing them, building them, performancing them, and making them one-off. If everybody builds the same exact bike, is that really cool? No. Make it your bike. If you make it your bike, you're not going to want to get rid of it. If you do the same bike and you bring it right back to showroom exact condition as it was, these are KE100s, they're DSs, they're not going to be much more than what they're worth. Okay, you're not going to get thousands of dollars for them. They're not going to be over the moon. But what they are going to be is something that you created with your own hands and you built it. And it is going to be awesome. Make these bikes your own. I do it all the time. I love doing it. I'm doing the KE100, KE102, which we're going to be doing soon. I've just been getting so many bikes. So many bikes have been coming up here. So we're going to have to actually cut away from some of that stuff and probably do some double videos or something. I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out because I got to get back on that bike. As soon as that part comes in, the sprocket, we're going to be back on that bike, and I want to get that bike together. I got some cool stuff. I also have an exhaust system for a TC90 that will work on a KE100. I want to try that out. The thing looks pretty cool. It's a little different, but not too bad. Yeah, I love that bike. That bike right there was, I had, so I got some friends in Pakistan who are on my my Facebook page, and Mohammed has been an amazing guy, outstanding guy, and I was able to get some parts from him mailed to the U.S., and he sent me the tachometer cable. I got 2 of those and 2 tachometer drive full setups to put a tachometer on the bike, and I was able to put a tachometer on a KE100 because that's what they use over there in Pakistan, India, Philippines. Those guys have beautiful bikes. If you guys have a chance to go on YouTube and look up a KH100 or a Kawasaki KE or not KE, a GTO 125 or a GTO 100, the bikes are beautiful. They're just beautiful bikes. And they do such a great job over there. Oh, I'm jealous. I wish that stuff was here in the States. No, I totally understand that. That would be worth a ride to come down and pick up. That'd totally be worth a ride to come down there. Do it on a weekend. Go down, no problem. Yeah, the guys over there, and they have, like Mohammed, he has an inventory of new old stock stuff that will blow your mind. And whatever you need, CDI units, all that stuff, go hit him up. He's a great guy. His name is Mohammed, and he's on my channel there, my Facebook page. Go check him out. The guy's amazing. He's honest, fair, and he is. So let me tell you what happened. The first time I bought parts from him, they didn't come in right away. It was like a slow boat to China. I swear to God, it took like 2 months. He's like, Kevin, I swear I sent him all. He gave me a tracking number, and then the tracking number didn't work and everything else. He said, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you out the parts. I said, well, if you send me out another set of parts and I end up getting both sets, I'll pay you for the other set. And I did. And it worked out great. The guy, he's been outstanding. If you can think of it and you need it, he's got it. It's Handy Motorman. If you go on my main page on my YouTube where it says About, go down bottom and then you can click on View Email. That's my email address right there. You can actually, let's see if I can type that in here. I'm just going to type it in right here. Hold on. There you go. Okay. handymotorman76@gmail.com. Yeah, that's the best way to get in touch with me. Through that type of stuff, and then some people text me and stuff like that. You can do that too. You're more than welcome to text that. You can just do this. Yeah, you can text me too. Either way, you can get in touch with me. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, guys, I am really, really happy, and thank you guys for all your support. I'm actually going to end it now because I have to get up tomorrow, so I have to get my little guy in the bed. But we're going to do this on Tuesday nights, guys, and I just want to say thank you guys for all your subscriptions, hanging out with me on Two Stroke Tuesdays, and this was my first one, so hopefully you guys got something out of it. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys, meeting you guys, and just sharing stories and stuff like that. So we'll be doing this again on Tuesday nights, same time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And that's what we're going to be doing. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I will talk to you guys later. I'm out.
What's next?
Oh, you're welcome for the live chat. You're welcome. Have a good night, guys.